Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So I've got another interactive card tutorial for you today. This is using the Lawn Fawn Magic Iris. I really like the way this one turned out, so let's go ahead and get making. Alright, so for this card we're going to start off with making the actual magic iris itself. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and cut out a bunch of these because you need 3 of the rings, and this all comes with the standard magic iris. So you get 3, I need 3 of the rings, 3 of these little sausagey ones, which I've cut out of this blue Spiffy Speckles cardstock, 3 of the little stabilizer things, and then 1 of the little handles. So to start off with, we're going to grab one of the rings, and this is the die set, so you can see you get everything with it. I'm just going to grab this one here, which is what Lawn Fawn call the flux capacitor, which I think is a great name. And I'm just going to grab this one and put it in the middle, grab a little bit of washi tape. We're going to line this up so it's in the middle, and then just stick it down, and I'm going to run that through the die cut machine. Now all the standard bits are just cut out of plain white cardstock. They don't need to be out of anything fancier than that. You can if you want to. You just sort of you can sometimes see a little bit of the white. So if you're worried about it, cut it all out of coloured paper, but if you're not, it's fine with white. So there's your little flux capacitor, or flux capacitor piece. And then what we're going to do is we're going to squish these sausages in here. So you grab hold of this one, you put it in the little slot, spin it around until it sits sort of flush with the ring on each side. Now this is something I've been doing because I find it a little bit easier. I like to tape these down. So I'll get as much of the stickiness off my washi tape as I can because I don't want it to stick well. I just want it to hold it still. So I'm just going to hold this still like that. Same thing with the next one, put it in the little square bit and then sort of spin it around until it sits on the circle. Go, set that off, and then hold it still. And then we do the same thing again, just need to get a little bit more tape. With that last one, so just in place, spin it around. Line it up with the edge. Sometimes you have to give it a bit more of a wiggle than others, but most of the time they fall into place pretty easily. And then just tape that shut. Okay, so from there the next thing we need to do is get some glue dots. Now these are very important according to everything I've been reading and watching. It has to be the mini glue dots. If you use the big glue dots, it's not going to work. It's going to be too big. And if you use glue tape, or adhesive dots or anything like that, sorry, not adhesive dots, adhesive tape, it's not going to work. It's just going to get stuck. So you've got to use these little mini dots. So you pick them up, and then on this little X here, which the die makes for you, so it makes it really easy, you just put the glue dot down on there. So you just pick it up. Tweezers are the easiest way to do this, or like a picking tool, something that's got a sharp edge is generally pretty good. Just pick them up and just drop them on the little X's. And from there we need to grab another one of the rings, line this up. Now I'm going to get my head in this because I need to get this right. So line it up with the circle, put it down, and then just push down where those little dots are. And that gets you your first sort of bit of it. So I know it doesn't look like much now, but trust me, this becomes really cool soon. So now I'm just going to pick off the washi and just pull that off gently. This is why we try to get as much of the stick off as we can, because it's not going to need to hold for very long. So then we're going to grab this little bit here. This is the handle bit. Oh, hold on, no, I've skipped a step. I need to put on the stabilizers. So if we flip it over, you can see on the back here you've got 3 little squares that have been cut in. All you need to do is just grab some glue tape and just do a straight line from that to the edge. I knew I skipped a step. And then you put the stabilizers in. So these are really cool because they've got these little round ends, so you can sort of really line up where this needs to go. So you line it up right on the edge in a straight line and then just push it down. And these are going to help the iris be able to spin. So you just stick that there. Straight line, and same with the third one. So you got 3, then you flip it over. Now I'm back where I should have been. So this is the handle part. You just need to put a little bit of glue on the very end of the handle. And then what we're going to do is you have to put it on the outside of the ring. So hold the ring so it's got the two at the top and then the one at the bottom. And then place this down right on the outside of the ring so it makes a little V shape. So that'll make sense when you sort of have a look at it. So you just sort of use the ring as your guide, find it, and then you sort of keep going till you've got that V. So I know it's really hard to see, but just need to get so you get that V shape. So once that's in place, we need to get the third ring. So this is just a stacking on top. So you're just going to stack it on there, grab some glue tape again, just put glue on the stabilizers. We're going to line up that ring as well. And then all you're going to do is just fold these stabilizers over. Now they're not supposed to be tight, and they're supposed to sit just on the inside of where that stitching is. So it doesn't need to be a really tight pull, you just need to do it enough that it sort of sits about there. It doesn't matter if it's not quite exactly there, but pretty close. There we go. And there we have our iris. Now, like I said, it doesn't look like much. And this first one's always a bit rough because you sort of got to get the mechanism to kind of want to go. So I always have trouble with the first couple, but it will move. Come on. There we go. Just got a bit stuck for a sec. So you just give it, it's a little bit like all of the interactive dives. The more you play with it, the easier it becomes to move. So I just kind of stick it down, hold it still, give it a couple of minutes and just give it a bit of a play. Also tends to get stuck for me right up the top here, which is sort of what's stopping it from shutting the whole way. There we go. Now she's got some movement to her. The more, like I said, the more you play with it, the easier that'll get, and the more we'll get that shut. That will close a little bit more by the end of this. Alright, so now we've got the iris ready to go. We're going to start working on the background. So for this, I'm going to be using this really cute little set called Butterfly Kisses, which is one that I have wanted for so long. So we're going to have it that the little fox is going to be chasing the butterflies, which will appear when you open the iris up. So we'll start off with doing the actual background and then we'll move on to all the dies. So this is the add-on. This is an extra die that you can buy, you don't have to buy. The iris is actually fine on its own, but if you do want to get the add-on, it is available as well. I'm going to grab the Spiffy Speckles paper pack, which as you can see I have absolutely torn to shreds, but it's okay, that's what it's there for. I may need to get another Spiffy Speckles. So I'm going to just stick that down on there and run this through the die machine. Background. Now what I'm trying to decide is, do I want my iris to be, so now you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like when this is done. It's nowhere near there yet, but you'll open it up. I'm just trying to decide if I want the iris, like the card to go this way, or if I want the card to go this way, because it can go either. I think we'll go this way. We'll do this way. Alright. So then we can start working on getting the background ready to go. I know I need a grassy hill, or want a grassy hill. Thankfully I have hundreds of little bits of grass or green for the grass sitting in here. So I'm just going to run that through, run that through with this one again. I'm actually going to get just the smallest amount because I don't want to waste any. If I can save some, I will. So I'm just going to run it up to the little stitching line, just holding it in place with that washi again, just using the same piece. Now that's not completely straight, and that's okay because we're going to use the simple stitched Hillside borders to give me a bit more of a edge to it. So I'm grabbing the really shallow one. Cute little hillside that just lines up on the top of that as well. Alright, so now we're going to get going with the actual little images. I'm going to show you how I colour them in, only because I know a lot of people are really curious when it comes to Copics. But I will do it in fast motion just so you guys don't have to sit through the whole thing. So I'm grabbing my Misti out for this one. I'm just grabbing some blending card. So I'm gonna need the little fox. I'm gonna need all the butterflies. Grab both the big cloud and the little cloud. I'm going to get the bunny, and then I don't know if I'm going to use it, but I'm going to grab it anyway. I'm just going to grab the little grass and one of the flowers, and I'll decide later if I'm going to get it. I'm also going to do the little net, but I haven't decided yet if I'm going to try and do something clever with the net. So I'll stamp it out now and we'll come back and decide what we're going to do with it in a minute. Looking, making sure there's nothing else I need now. There's not. Okay, so I'm gonna flip my Misti over, pick up all those stamps, pull the blending card off, hold that down still, grab my Memento ink because it won't bleed with the Copics, just stamp that all over the images. Oops. Shut the door. Now I can tell already that I haven't done a very good job of inking that, but that's alright. Need a little bit more. So this is the genius of the Misti, is that you can just double stamp it because they're all in exactly the same spot. We'll try that. That's better. Ta-da! Needs a little bit more just on that plant. There we go. Alright, so I'll take that out. I'm going to go ahead and colour these in. I'll take these out and clean them later. So I'm going to do all of this super quick, but I will put all the markers next to the screen so you can see which colours I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and colour these all in and I'll be right back. So I've gone ahead and cut these all out with the matching dies, and I'm just bringing in my little cat plate just to hold everything while I put it together. So you would have seen just before I did a couple of stamps of the, what's it called? The net. I just put a couple onto some vellum. One was with Memento ink and one was with Stays On, and I just want to give them both a shot because I'm not sure which one's going to work. So I'm just doing those ones as well. So I'm just popping these all out. So far not too bad with the cutting. Sometimes I find I'm a little bit off, and that's all me, that's nothing else. Oh my god, that rabbit and that fox are so cute. So cute. So I try to put them back straight onto the magnetic sheet when I'm done, that way I don't lose any of them, and I just keep the washi in case I need to use them again. If at the end of the project I haven't used them all, then they just go in the bin, but better to have it and not need it than the other way around. Now that I've given that Memento ink just a little chance to dry, sorry, the Memento and the Memento might be okay. Oh no, it's not. No, they're still drying. I'm just going to give it a little bit longer. I'll come back to that one. Alright, let's start assembling the rest of the card while we're waiting. So I'm going to put that hill on there. Just got a little bit of paper stuck at the bottom here, so I'm just fixing that up. So I'm going to stick that on there. I'm just going to use liquid glue for all of this just because it's a little bit more forgiving. So this is just my Tombow glue. Just wiggle down the side. Don't need too much. Lay that down on there and then just line that up. If there is a little bit of glue that comes out, that's okay. I just wipe it off with my finger. And then while that's drying, I do like to put something heavy on it, so phone will do for now, while that goes off to the side. Okay, so we now need to get a piece of cardboard for behind that's going to act as our card base. I'm just grabbing this bit of Kaisercraft cardboard, and then I'm just grabbing my stitched rectangle dies. I think the large one is just bigger than this one, but I'm the Magic Iris die, but I'm not sure. Oh, should I use my phone? Yes, it is. Just one size bigger. Perfect. Cool. So I'm going to cut my backing out of this Kaisercraft paper. This is the same one I use for my wedding invitations, and I love it. It's my favourite. Which is why I'm surprised that there is still some in my house. I thought I'd used it all. So I'm just cutting as much as I need and just run this through. This will work as our base. This is where that extra washi tape that I've still got hanging around comes in handy. I need new plates on my die cutting machine, which is why it sort of doesn't quite cut through this really thick cardboard all the way around, but that's alright. Now I've got our base there, we can start sort of assembling this. So that's where that's going to sit. And as I'm doing this, I'm noticing little squidgies on the side of these ones as well. So it'll sit like that. And then our little iris will sit behind it. So it'll sit there like that. So while we're wandering along with these bits, that's the circle that we used to cut out, that cut out of the middle here. We just need to grab again from the add-on set. Where did it go? I have too much on my desk now and I can't find things. From the add-on set, we need to get this little guy, run that through the die machine. I'm also going to run him through again with just a little offcut from this blue. And it's because I want the arrow. There's a little arrow in here that I want to die cut out because I'm going to inlay it. So I'll run that one through first with the pale blue. And that doesn't matter so much if it doesn't get the whole shape, it just needs to get the arrow. Alright, so you got the little arrow bit here, and I'm just going to keep that in with my little dies so I don't lose it. Okay, let's start assembling this. So we've got to make sure that this sits in the right spot. So put that where it needs to be, and we make sure that the tab bit to pull down is sitting sort of up here. We'll stick those on like this. I'm just going to use just a little bit of liquid glue to put this on, so just to put that edge bit on. Then you end up cutting a little bit of this off to make the square, so it'll make sense in a sec, I promise. Just use the circle bit to kind of guide where you're putting the tab. Go. Again, the more we play with this, the easier it gets to move. Go, and then just putting a little bit of glue on the inside of that arrow, so that's where we're going to put that navy one in. We do it now before we forget. There it goes. And then just with the scissors, just cut off that white bit, because then this will sit flush in with the side of the card, or the top of the card in this case. So when it's closed, whoops. So put it all the way closed. It'll sit in just like this. So when we're lining it up in just a sec, that's what we're going to do. We're going to line it up just like that, so that it's absolutely perfect. You can't tell that there's even been a cut out of that. That's so cool. Okay, so to do that, we can use glue tape. You can use regular glue if you want to, like liquid glue. It really doesn't matter. I feel like I want to use liquid glue in case I'm a little bit off and need to wiggle this around, but at the same time I just prefer glue dots, so we'll give this a go. I'm just gonna wiggle this till it's in the right spot. It is a little difficult, which is why my head's in the way. Whew, I thought it wasn't quite in the right spot, and it's not exactly perfect, but it's pretty close. So there we go, and then you go and it opens up. Oh my god, it's the coolest thing ever. Oh, I love this so much. I was really, sorry, I haven't done it yet. I was really scared of using the magic iris on camera. I was scared that it was going to be really hard and wasn't going to work. It's actually not that complicated once you get going. So I just folded over the little tabs there of the sausages, and that's just so that they don't get in the way. They don't need to be there now. They only needed to be flat before. All right, so stick this down. Hold on, we're going to open it up first. We're going to draw the pencil lines in for my little circle bit. So I'm going to line this up where I want it. I'm going to grab the little circle. I think it'll be easier to mark this in here, stick it in, and then go over the top. So I've just done that. I'm going to do this bit with liquid glue because I think I need it. I'm going to need a bit of give to get this in the right spot. Pop that down. I haven't pushed really hard there, so it should be easy to move if I need to move it just a little bit to the left or the right. Just lining that up. There we go. That's the spot right there. And it sits absolutely perfectly. Yay! Okay, so now I need a ton of foam tape. Not really a ton, but just a fair amount to put behind on each side, just to give it a bit of lift so it can wiggle around without too much problem. So I'm just going to grab as much as we need here. You need to stay obviously out of the way of the moving bit. So you need to stay out of the way of the little tab. Try and get the word right. It's called a tab. So I'm just making sure I don't put anything in the way of that. But everything else, you just need to raise it up. Now we can go ahead and attach these two together, just making sure there's enough height there. I don't want any more. I don't want to double height it. No, I think that's okay. So take off all the papers. This is the scary bit, all the little dusty bits, and line this up. I'm just lining that up with the circle. I'm honestly not paying that much attention to everything else. I'm just trying to make it as straight as I can. Okay. Push, and we have it down. It's a little bit too far to the right, but only just, so I'm okay. And you can see now you can shut it. It's a little bit hard to get into place, but it'll loosen up as I play with it. And then you can open it back up again. Now I admit I feel like that's not quite sitting right. I prefer to use them this way. That's sort of the way I feel like they are easier to use. but I really wanted this to be a horizontal card instead of a vertical card. Just needed a bit more of a wiggle. Oh no, there we go. Again, I think the more I play with that, the easier it'll get for me. Okay. I'm going to stop playing with it, otherwise I will be here forever just wiggling that thing around. Okay. So we're going to put the little fox, he's going to sit here. He's going to sit on a bit of foam tape because I want him to sit up high to be able to have the net in his hand. I'm going to have the clouds on the side here. I'm just going to leave them white. I deliberately left them white because I just wanted just a little bit of contrast with all this the speckles paper in the background. Just like that. I think I'll put the grass and the flower in. I don't know if I need them, but I feel like I want them. Just as a little pop. And then all of the butterflies are going to be in the background. So I'm going to stick this down first, and then we'll come back and put the butterflies in. Now before we do that, sorry, I've just realised, I just want to see, I'm trying to decide if I want to use the vellum in the net instead of the white, just as something a little bit different. So all I'm going to do here is just cut around the net. So this is using Stays On ink. So I'm just cutting really gently around the net. Could use a die, of course, but I feel like it's going to look a bit different, or a bit better if it's a little closer. And then I'm going to cut off. I'm going to cut around the wooden sort of edge of the net, so where the white bit is, which is really difficult because it's so little. Then you put just a little bit of glue on where that net bit is. And attach the net to the vellum. So now instead of being white, it's going to be this with the vellum, so you can kind of see through it a little bit, which is kind of, I think that looks nicer. So I'm just going to sit that off to the side and let it set while we finish putting this together. So the rabbit's going to go up on some foam tape as well because he's special, he's looking up at the clouds. So he's going to be sitting here looking up at the clouds. The grass and the flower is just going to be on with glue tape, with liquid glue. This is where I find tweezers is sometimes easier. For the little fox, he needs to sit up on some foam tape, but then I want him to be holding the net, so I'm just working out how I do that. Okay, so I'm just going to snip just in the middle here. He sort of looks like he's got his hands together, so if I stick that in the middle, there we go. So now it looks like he's holding the net. Oh, that is so cute. I knew there was a reason I needed to have this kit. And we're going to have that sitting so it sits down over the magic iris. So it's going to sit just, it's not doing a good job because it's a bit sticky still. That'll work eventually, it just needs to lay flat a bit longer. So while that's drying a little bit more, put the clouds in. Actually, we might put the clouds on this side so I can put the sentiment over here because it's just going to be a very small sentiment. Here, just making sure we don't hit that mechanism at all. 2 little clouds. And we'll open this up and we'll put all the butterflies in here. So I'm just going to stick them in just with glue. You obviously don't want too much height because that'll cause the mechanism to get stuck. Sit there, and I want that sitting, just can't quite get it to sit where I want to to be able to stick it. So I'm going to put some glue just on the back of his hand. It's a teensy little dot. And I'm just going to use that to kind of help me get this to stay still. There we go. It's going to sit like that so that when you open this up, it looks like he's actually catching the butterflies. That's sort of what I'm going for. Ah, that's working better already. Okay, so it's going to take off the paper. Damn, I've just realised what I've forgotten to do. I forgot to put my little highlights on these, but I'll do that in a sec. So I've got little Foxy. He's going to sit there like that. So the little net is actually kind of hanging in midair, and then when you open this up, you can see, oops, you can see all the butterflies. Oh my god, I love that so much. I really do, I love that. Alright, let's finish her off with just a couple of little highlights on the rabbit and on the fox, a little bit on the grass. Would have been so much easier to do this before I stuck them down, but... And then for the sentiment, again, easier to do before I did this, but anyway, I'm just going to put this one here that says fluttering by to say. I'm actually really nervous to put that on there because I don't think it'll work. So I'm going to do it on a banner, and that should solve the problem. So I'm just going to do it with, just going to stamp it out. I'm just going to stamp it out with the stamp block and just use my Memento ink. So put it right in the middle. And if I get the banner, this is one out of the extra sentiment banners. I'll sit it like this. And it can just sit on the edge and will look really cool. Got the fluttering by to say, so that'll sit just up here in the corner. So I'm just going to snip that off. Just try and keep that as straight as I can. Fluttering by to say, and then when you open the card, which we obviously haven't done yet, but is easy enough to do. Inside, I'm just going to leave that blank at the moment. I'm going to make it say thank you because this is going to be a thank you card. But at least for now, I'm going to leave that as it is. But how cool is that? Now, I know it's not perfect with the little iris thing. That's me. That's not it. But it's getting better the more I play with it. So I'm just going to sit here for the next 25 minutes and just sort of spin that back and forth. But I love that so much. It's so cool. Just squishing all the butterflies. And you could, if you wanted to, you could put another butterfly out here. I like the fact that I can just see that pink butterfly through the net. I think that's a really cool little addition, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's not hard to do. It feels complicated. Obviously, this has been a long video. It feels complicated. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And I probably should have started with a more simple one as opposed to the one I've got, because I kind of went with the background straight away. I could have done it the easy way, but I decided not to. So I hope you liked this one. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what kind of cards you'd like to see, if there's another Magic Iris one you want to see, or maybe if you want me to use one of my other interactive dies. I feel like I have all of them. I don't, but I feel like I do. So if you want to see those, let me know as well. Don't forget to give this one a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and be subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any future card making videos. I hope you guys have had a fantastic week. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!